Hi, welcome. I'm Jenny with Slate Pilates. Today we're going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to be taking you through another workout on the reformer, but whereas I generally like to create a nice flow that's a little bit more challenging, today we're going to pull back and I'm going to go back to the beginner reformer work. Not only are we going to do the beginner work, but we're also going to add some modifications in where we can. The reason I want to do this is because last week I had a little bit of a recurring neck injury act up, and I think it's really important to know that even when you're injured, there are a lot of things you can still do on the reformer to keep your body moving. So today we're going to start with footwork. We're going to go a little bit lighter than normal. So I have two heavies, a medium, and a light. For me, that's two reds, a blue, and a yellow. Once you have your springs set up, let's go ahead and come to lying on our back. Scoot your shoulders up against the shoulder rest, find that nice neutral spine, and we're going to bring our heels together, toes apart, balls of the feet on the foot bar. Arms lengthened by the side. We'll inhale as we press out and exhale to resist those springs in. So we're going to move nice and slow here. I really want to focus on form and focus on turning on the correct muscles. So it's important that we're pressing those heels together, helping those inner thighs to light up, and we're pulling the abdominals in and up, feeling that corseted effect, making your waist just a little bit smaller. Inhaling and exhaling. Now, if you needed to, I've had knee injuries in the past, you could go even lighter with the springs. We can really create a lot of resistance of our own, so you don't necessarily have to have the highest spring tension. Two more. Last one. Pull that carriage close. Now we're going to open those heels up, bringing the feet to parallel, fist width distance between the feet, and move up to the arches. When you're ready, inhale out, exhale in. Now as we're in this bird on a perch position, toes are actively reaching over the foot bar, heels are reaching under. I still have those inner thighs turned on. I'm scissoring them in toward each other to keep my knees moving along the midline. Really use those abdominals to help you put on the brakes as you're resisting the springs in. So I pull my abdominals in and up to press away. I keep them pulling in and up and use them to slow down as I close the carriage to the stoppers. The last one here. Come on in. Let's move our heels up onto the foot bar. Find an actively flexed foot. Inhale to press out. Exhale in. So now that we're really grounding those heels into the foot bar, you should feel that back chain of energy lighting up a little bit more. You're still going to feel it in your quads, but you'll notice you can even take your hands down. Place your hands where your hamstrings and your glutes meet, and you should feel those muscles nice and active as you move here. I think one thing to take note of as well when we're moving in this position is you want to just imagine as if you're standing on a wall that's extending up out of your foot bar. I see a lot of people pulling their toes way back toward their shins. You're just going to be uncomfortable if you flex too much. So kind of find that sweet spot. Try to let your toes be relaxed. Last one here. Pull the carriage on into a close. We're going to open our feet wide, coming back down to the ball of the foot, finding a slight turnout into high heel. Inhale to press out, exhale to draw the carriage in, maintaining that high heel as you move. Knees are wide, and I want you to focus for a moment on your legs. Are your legs putting in the same amount of work as they press away and as they pull in? We all tend to have that dominant side, and we really want to even out the workload here between the legs. Make sure you're maintaining that high heel. As you press your legs out, you can feel that flex into the calves. That nice contraction. Let's do 2 more here. Last one. Go ahead and bring the feet back to the center of the foot bar. Still on the ball of foot, still fist width distance between. Press those legs out long. From here, we're going to go into heel lower lifts. Inhaling as we lower underneath the foot ball. Exhaling as you come up high. Inhale to lower. Exhale to lift. Take it nice and slow here. As you lower those heels, feel that glorious stretch up the back of your legs. As you come up, feel those calves turning on. Another note here, make sure that the pressure on the foot bar is coming from the big toe and second toe. We all tend to want to roll out toward the outer pinky side of the foot as we're doing movement like this. We really want to focus on that big toe pressing into the foot bar as we lower and lift. You should start to feel a burn here. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Come up to a high heel and then go into running, dropping one heel, lifting the other. And here you can just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. Go ahead and lower both of those heels under the foot bar. Really reach those heels away from you and then slowly bend the knees in to close the carriage. Perfect. I'm going to take us into the 100 next. So classically, we would sit up, we would place 1 red and 1 blue spring, but today we're going to do it without straps. And I'm going to start you at the very, very easiest form and kind of walk you through from there. So we're going to draw our knees up to a tabletop position. Arms are going to extend by our sides about hip height. We're going to begin pumping the arms, inhaling for a count of 5, exhaling for a count of 5. So even though my head is down, even though my legs are not extended, I'm pulling my abdominals in and up, and they're still helping to keep my body totally stable as I pump. They're still helping to keep me in a nice neutral spine. If you want more, and if you're able, curl the head, neck, and shoulders up. Look in towards your inner thighs as you continue pumping. Now my lower back is imprinted. I also want you to make sure that your head is sitting on top of your neck. So if my head is angled back even slightly, there's so much stress in the neck. If I curl up looking inward, all that stress is gone. If you want even more here, you can extend those legs out long over the foot bar. Last breath cycle. And then go ahead and lower back. Pull those knees into the chest. You can rock gently from side to side, massaging the lower back. We're going to sit up. And I want you to just drop your lightest spring. So we're going to have 2 heavy and 1 medium spring. Come back down to lying. Feet come back to the foot bar. And let's find that Pilates V again. So heels together, toes apart, balls of the foot on the foot bar, arms lengthened by the side. We're going to go into some pelvic lifts. So we'll start by warming up the spine. Inhaling as you pull the pelvis in toward the belly button, rounding up 1 vertebrae at a time. Coming up to that bridge, squeezing into the glutes, pausing for a moment, and then exhaling as you begin to melt down 1 vertebrae at a time until you're heavy on your sacrum, and then we'll move again. Inhaling, rolling up. Exhaling, melting down. Now a couple of things here. Our knees are wide, but I don't want them super wide. So think about holding them about as wide as your shoulder rests. We really want to keep those ribs knitting in toward each other. We're not flaring the ribs toward the ceiling. And we're also finding that feeling of pulling our sits bones toward our heels to keep that carriage from leaving the stoppers. Let's do one more. The next time we round up, we're going to pause. Inhaling. Hold those hips high, make sure those hips are nice and even. We're going to inhale to press out, lengthening the legs. Exhale to pull in. Squeezing into those glutes. Feeling that energy shoot out the knees as we pull in. Feeling those inner thighs zipping together as we press out. One more. And roll down. Now we're going to open those feet parallel. Let's move up to the high arch, so just below the ball of the foot. And your feet can be about hip width distance apart, so a little bit wider. Now we're going to go back into our pelvic lifts, inhaling to bring the pelvis toward the belly button, finding that lift, and melting back down. Now you should really feel those inner thighs nice and active because they're holding those knees to the midline. So as we round up, our knees aren't falling out to the side. We're not allowing them to fall in toward each other. They're staying nice and parallel. We're still keeping those abs pulling in and up, and we're still finding that corseted effect. That smaller waist by pulling the abdominals in and up. And you should be feeling a nice little burn in the glutes. Now on this next one, we'll curl up and we'll hold. And now inhale to press away, exhale to come in. Keeping those hips lifted nice and high, making sure that they're even. If one isn't, really squeeze into the glute on the side that's dipping slightly. If you still can't get them even, you can always place your hands just behind your hips and just help a little bit. Let's do one more and melt that spine down. The last one we're going to do here, open the feet wide on the foot bar, come to the heels. Find that positioning. Arms lengthened by the side. And let's start with our pelvic tilts, rounding ourselves up and then melting down. Now this one I always find the most challenging as far as not letting the stoppers move, or the carriage move away from the stoppers. So really turn on those hamstrings. Pull those heels toward the sits bones as you move here. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Two more. On the second one, we're going to hold up high. Last one here, round up, hold, inhale to press out, exhale in. I really feel my hamstrings activating here. You should feel your glutes burning a little bit, and you're really going to feel those muscles we talked about earlier, where the hamstrings and the glutes meet, firing. Two more. Last one. Come on in. Melt that spine down. Draw your knees into your chest again. And let's rock side to side. We'll gently bring ourselves up to a seated position. And we're going to drop down to one blue spring or one medium spring. We're going to scoot our booty back against the shoulder rest, Sitting up nice and tall, and you can come into a crisscross position. If this is a little bit too much, you can always have your legs extended a little bit. And another thing to note here is if you have a hard time sitting up nice and tall in your spine, a quick fix is to grab a yoga block, if you have a moon box, and this can help you to get that length in your spine that we're looking for. So I'll actually sit on this today. I'm gonna reach back behind me. I'm gonna grab onto my short straps. Now, if you have any injury that's arm, shoulder related, you could go even lighter here and go with the lightest spring tension on one of the high buttons. If you do that, just know to be very careful moving on the reformer because you're on an extremely light spring. From here, we'll sit up nice and tall, and we're gonna set up for hug a tree. Arms float up, elbows are lifted, shoulders rolled down the back, hands are in my peripheral vision. I'm gonna inhale to hug in around that imaginary tree, exhale to open up. Now notice as I'm moving here, this isn't a huge motion. People tend to wanna really open the arms, bringing those shoulder blades together on the back. That's not what we're doing in hug a tree. We're keeping the shoulder blades nice and separate from each other, pulling the abdominals in and up, finding length in our waist, really stabilizing through our core, and then opening and closing these arms, getting into our chest. This is where that control piece comes in. I don't know about you, but I tend to really like to go for it when I'm working out. So movements like this are really great for me because they make me pull back just a little bit. And honestly, I end up getting more work. One more here. In and out. Let's go ahead and bring our arms into our side. We're going to hinge forward now, keeping that nice flat back. Bring the arms up to a cactus or a goalpost. And from here, you'll inhale to press those arms out. Arms come up by the ears. Exhale to lower out. Again, my abs are pulling in and up. My arms are lengthening away. I'm reaching those fingertips toward where the ceiling and the wall meet in front of me. And I'm keeping my spine nice and long. So notice how I'm looking forward in front of me a couple feet. My chin isn't lifted. My chin isn't tucked. I want that nice long line from my sits bones out the crown of my head. Use that inhale to power your arms forward. Use that exhale to resist the spring, slowly coming back to cactus. 2 more. Last one. Beautiful. Go ahead and drop your arms, sit up tall, and we'll hang these straps up. Carefully come off your box, and we're going to grab onto our long box. So we'll bend, lifting with the legs, not with the back. Place the box on in the long position. Drop your foot bar, and let's add 1 red spring and take the blue off. So just 1 red spring. Once you're ready, we're going to come onto the box, heads facing the back of the reformer. My chest is going to be just off the front of the box. And from here, let's set up our body. I'm going to point those toes back behind me, turning on my legs. My glutes are squeezing in. My abdominals are pulling in and up off the box. They will never literally pull up off the box, but I'm trying to find that feeling. I'm going to grab onto my ropes above the knot or above the silver clip, depending on your reformer, and I'm going to let my arms fall out to either side of the reformer frame. I'm looking straight down at the floor. I have a nice long body. I'm going to inhale, pulling my fists back toward my hips, melting my chest open toward the back wall, and then exhale to melt down, lowering back to our start position. Inhale, pulling, and exhale, releasing. Now, if you have an injury in your neck, in your back, if this feels like there's tension where there shouldn't be, all you have to do is take out the extension. So I would just look down into the well, pull my fists back, and then lower them forward. Couple options here. You could always lighten up to a blue spring too. Let's do 2 more. I'm going to add my extension back on. And lower. and lower. Okay, now we're going to move our hands onto the little rectangle of fabric that's just above the loops. I want my fingers to be flat and I'm holding that rectangle between my thumb and my fingers. From here, I'm going to pull back gently, bringing my arms to a T, making sure that my abs are still pulling in and up, my legs are strong. I'm going to inhale, pulling the pinkies back toward my hips. Exhale to lengthen out to that T. I'm looking down into the well the entire time. I have a nice long spine here. Inhaling to pull back, exhaling to release. Now I want you to think about form here again. We just want to open those arms out to a T. I'm not opening up to a Y. So it's not a huge movement. You should really be feeling your triceps, squeezing in and releasing. 2 more. Last one. Go ahead and let the arms hang down. You can place them on the reformer frame and then let your head be heavy, hanging down toward the headrest. And breathe for a moment. I'll kind of walk you through our next movement here. We're going to move our hands back up the rope above the knot of the clip, set up our body, find that long, strong line. Arms are on either side of the reformer frame. I'm going to inhale as I pull back, squeeze my upper arms in toward my body, bend at the elbow and straighten, going into tricep presses. I'm looking straight down. I'm not shrugging my shoulders up into my ears. Using my breath here. Your breath is your friend. 2 more. Last one. And lower those arms down. Walk your hands up either side of the frame. You can get a little traction here and let that chest melt down. Let the head be heavy. Relax the legs. Lock your hands back. We're going to place the straps back onto the little pegs, and then we'll carefully come up off the reformer. I'm going to turn the box to the short box position. I'm going to place it over kind of the rest today. And I am going to place all of my heavy springs on and my medium spring, just to be safe. We don't want any movement. So from here, I like to grab a ball when I'm on the short box. And it's not that I'm using it so much to enhance the work and make it harder. I'm using it for placement, so I can make sure that my body is doing the right thing. So I'm going to place my feet under my safety strap. I'm going to scoot back slightly so that my legs can be long. The strap is taut over the top of my foot, and I'm flexing my foot, so I'm really reaching my heel toward the standing platform. I'm going to place my ball against my belly. Hands are going to come on the opposite side. From there, I'm going to pull my belly button away from that ball. So almost as if it's fire hot and I don't want to be touching it. Now I have this nice deep scoop of my abdominals. I'm going to hold that feeling and I'm going to inhale as I round back in space. Exhale to come forward, diving my head slightly toward my knees. Inhaling back. Exhaling up. Now my shoulders, I want to keep open and wide. So even though I have this deep scoop in my abdominals, I don't want to be hunching inward with my shoulders. So try pressing your shoulders back, opening that chest, but keeping that deep scoop in the belly. Now you can roll back as far as you like, as long as you can keep the gut hollowed out. So if you come back so far that you start to come to a neutral spine, or God forbid, if you start to arch, that's too much. Just make the movement a little bit smaller. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Sit on up tall. Find length in your waist. You want to find length from your ribs to your hips. We're sitting up nice and tall this time. Let's take our arms out straight in front. Make sure those arms are plugged into the shoulders. Shoulders are rolled down the back. Keeping a nice flat back, we're going to inhale to hinge back. Exhale to come up tall. Now again here, You can take your hinge back as far as it feels good in your body, as long as you keep a neutral spine. If you feel any arching at all, it's too much. Rein it in a little bit. So as I come up, I'm really reaching those fingertips toward the wall in front of me. I'm feeling that nice long line from my sits bones out the crown of my head, and I'm growing taller through my waist. My heels are still actively reaching toward the standing platform here too. So we really have a lot of length we're creating throughout this movement. One more. Go ahead and lower the arms. We'll take the feet out from the safety strap for a moment. Place them down on the carriage. Just place your ball to the side wherever it can sit for a moment. And I want you to scoot forward a little bit on the box. Feet are going to be flat. We're going to bring our hands back behind our head, or right behind the ears. We want to keep the elbows nice and wide. Now, again, we're going to imagine here that we have a ball on either side of our body and that it's floating a couple inches away from our side, and it's fire hot. So we're going to sit up nice and tall out of the waist. We're going to inhale as we dip that right elbow to the right, pulling the obliques in and away from that fire hot ball, and then stack back up tall. Now to the left, pulling the left obliques in and away, and sitting up tall. Inhaling and exhaling. So this movement should be a lot of work. It's resistance that we're creating ourselves within our body, but you should really be pulling those muscles in and then slowly lengthening. Pulling in and slowly lengthening. Last one. And lengthen up. Nice. Last move we're going to do here, grab the ball one more time. Feet come back under the safety strap. Same setup as before. Extend the arms out. Let's take the ball into the right hand. We're going to inhale as we hinge back in space. Open that arm back toward the back of the carriage, twisting open. Bring it forward. Exhale to sit tall. Now left. Inhale, opening to the left. Drawing it in and exhaling up. Feeling that lovely twist in the spine, keeping the spine neutral as you move. Let's do one more right, one more left. Last one. Beautiful. Go ahead and take those feet out. We can set the ball to the side now. We're all done with it. And let's grab the short box off and place it away. And bring the foot bar back up. And let's do one red and one blue spring. So we're going to go into knee stretches here. And it's really important to know that with knee stretches, there are so many options for the spring tension. Classically, it's one red and one blue. I've done it on a red, I've done it on one blue, and I've done it on yellow, which is next level, and I love it. But today we're going to just do classical, one red, one blue. We're going to bring our hands to the foot bar. Feet are going to come up against the shoulder rests. From here, I'm going to find that Halloween cat back. I'm pulling the belly button toward the spine. I'm going to sit my sits bones back to hover just over my heels. Arms are going to stay long. Now the top part of my body isn't going to move at all. From my abdominals, I'm going to inhale as I press my knees back, keeping that pelvis pulling in toward the belly button, and then exhale to slowly, slowly, slowly close the carriage. Inhale to press back. Exhale to really resist putting on those brakes. You can take these knees back pretty far as long as you keep that scoop. So you don't want to come to a neutral spine. I think a lot of people think that this move is about pressing those knees back as far as you can. It's not. You can get tons of work from this movement from just moving your knees back halfway. In fact, let's try it. We'll press back, really slowly resist in. Press back a little, really slowly release in. Let's do two more. Last one. Go ahead and pull the carriage in, sit back for just a moment. You can bring your hands behind the shoulder rest and press your chest open, opening up toward where the wall and the ceiling meet. Bring our hands back onto the foot bar. This time we'll do knee stretch with a flat back. So compared to what we just did, it's gonna feel like you're sticking your butt out. Have a nice long spine, and then I'm gonna sit those sits bones back toward my heel again. Keeping the arms stable, inhale to press back, exhale to draw in, really resisting. So if we're pressing out on the count of 1, we're coming in on the 1, 2, 3. Press out 1, in, 2, 3. Really pulling those abdominals in and up. Squeezing into those glutes as I lengthen the legs back. Let's do 3 more here. 2, in, 2, 3, and 3. In, 2, 3. Go ahead and close the carriage. Place your feet in between the shoulder rests. Open your knees wide, and we'll sit back into a child's pose. Let that chest melt down toward the carriage. We'll come on up, and let's set up for some lunges. So we're going to drop the red spring, just keeping the blue. Move this wall a little bit. And I am standing on the right side of the reformer facing the foot bar. So I'm going to step that right foot up close to the foot bar and close into the frame. And then the left foot will come up into that shoulder rest. So we have lots of options here. You can keep your hands down on the foot bar. We'll let that left knee float up, and we'll inhale to press back into a deep lunge. Exhale to come in. Inhale back. Exhale in. The weight of the body is in that right heel. We're getting down as low as we can into that lunge because we're really trying to work this right glute. If you want more, you can stand tall. Left knee still stays lifted. We lunge out and we come in. Keep those shoulders pulling back, rounding down away from the ears. Last one. Come on in. Let that knee be heavy. Place your hands on the foot bar and just stretch back, opening up into that hip flexor. Stretching a little bit into that inner thigh on the right leg. And we'll pull the carriage closed. Before we move on to the other side, let's set up for scooters. So we'll put our red spring back on. We have 1 red, 1 blue, or 1 heavy, 1 medium. And now we'll set up for scooters. So we're going to walk that left or that right foot back enough that our knees are aligned. So my left knee is lifted up off the carriage. Knees are in alignment. Nice deep bend into my right leg. Hands come to the foot bar. Long spine. I'm going to inhale to press out. Exhale in. We'll do 10 here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Go ahead and pull the carriage in, and let's walk around to the other side. We'll drop that red spring. Right foot is going to come up against the shoulder rest. Left foot steps in close to the carriage frame, up near the foot bar. Hands can start on the foot bar, and we'll let that right knee float up. Inhale to press back. All the weight is now in my right heel as I move. I'm trying to get as low into this lunge as I can. Now, if you have any knee stuff here, you can leave that right leg resting down. It may feel a little bit nicer. You can also use a knee pad anytime we're working with kneeling on the reformer. Now, I'm going to kick it up a notch. So I'm going to lift that leg. Hands are going to come behind my sacrum. I'm going to inhale out and exhale up. Two more. Last one. Come on in, let that knee be heavy, hands on the foot bar, and press back into a stretch. Go ahead and pull the carriage in. We'll add on our red spring and we'll set up for scooters. So stepping that left foot back, lining up the knees, deep bend in that left leg. Hands come to the foot bar, nice long spine. Inhale to press out, exhale in 10 times. Eight, 9, 10. Close the carriage in. Let's go ahead and come to lying. Let's leave the one red and the one blue spring. We'll start with just a figure 4 stretch. So right ankle over that left knee. Open it out. If you want a little bit more, you can place either your right hand or both hands onto that right quad and press the knee away. Make sure that if you do this, you never press on the knee. You always press down on the quad. Now let's grab behind that left leg and pull in. So we're getting even deeper into that right glute. This is a place where I'm not super flexible. I watch people do this sometimes and pull this leg all the way to their chest. I'm just so jealous. I'm so tight here. You can also use your right elbow to press that right knee out. Let's place the foot down. We'll switch, bringing the left ankle across the right knee, and just start here by gently pressing the left leg open. Again, on the quad. And just breathe. Deep inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. We'll bring the hands behind the right leg and pull in. Holy moly, that's tight. I'm using my left elbow to press that leg open. Go ahead and lower the feet down. Let's reach behind us. We're going to grab onto the long straps. You can grab onto them on that rectangle of fabric, pulling them both forward and placing your feet into the long straps. Legs are going to extend up toward the ceiling. I'm going to make sure I'm in my neutral spine, shoulders against the shoulder rest, and my sacrum is heavy. Arms lengthened by my side. I'm going to inhale as I lower those legs away toward the foot bar. Exhale to lift. I'm pressing my legs together. So my inner thighs are super turned on right now. Pointing my toes, finding that length. Now something really important here, especially for anybody out there who has really tight hamstrings, you need to keep your sacrum heavy. So let's say I have really tight hamstrings, I can't straighten my legs, they're bent. I'm going to take it down just above the foot bar, and then I'm going to lift them up. If this is as far as I can go up without lifting my sacrum, then that's as far as I go up. I'm going to lower, and I'm going to lift to where I feel that deep stretch, but where I can keep my body in proper alignment. I know that baby steps can be really frustrating in body work, but I can tell you that if you push yourself beyond where your body is ready to go, it leads to injury, and then you're taking 2 steps back again. So it's really important to just be patient. Find that proper form, and your body will start to grow, and you will get more flexible, and things will become easier. Last one here. Inhaling down, exhaling up. Let's bring our feet to Pilates V, heels together, toes apart. Bend your knees in toward your chest, and we'll go into frog, pressing those heels out over the foot bar and drawing them back in. So in frog, I like to tell people to imagine that you're pinching a marker between your heels. As you press out, you're drawing a line. Now draw your legs back in, following that same line. So a lot of people tend to want to push out, come in. It's kind of a circular motion. It's not that. It's pressing out, drawing back in on that same plane. And again, we have our inner thighs nice and active because we're pressing those heels together. Actively flexing the foot, keeping the sacrum heavy. Inhale out. Exhale in, last one here. Bring the knees together, feet together in parallel. Extend the legs straight up and we'll go into leg circles. Let's start by dropping our feet toward the foot bar, opening those legs out and around, drawing back toward our head, lifting them together at the ceiling and then pressing down again. Again, control is our friend here. So sacrum stays heavy. The other thing I like to watch for here is place your hands on your hips. I don't want your pelvic bone to tilt in towards your belly button. I want that pelvis to stay nice and neutral. So maybe you need to make the circle a little bit smaller. Classically, this isn't even really a circle. Joseph Pilates would press down, open up about as wide as the foot bar, lift up, draw the feet together, and again. But I think now, we just love getting this stretch so much, the inner thighs. Last one here. Now we'll reverse it. So feet are going to open out, drawing down toward the foot bar and lifting up. Again, I have my hands on my hips, making sure that I am keeping neutral. Allowing gravity and those springs to open my legs wide. Let's do one more here. Out, around, down, and draw up. Now, bring your feet up toward the ceiling, grab onto the ropes, and now you can let that sacrum lift up. You can pull your feet in towards your head if it feels good. Let our legs fall out to a wide V. Still holding onto those ropes, you can rock side to side. Carefully close the heels in together and then drop the feet down toward the carriage, and you can let those ropes gently pull your heels towards your pubic bone, and you're coming into a nice deep butterfly stretch. Grab onto the ropes, draw your knees together, knees are in toward the chest. We'll carefully take those straps off and hang them up. Come up to a seated position, and you're all done for today. So I hope that workout was a little bit more gentle than what you're used to putting yourself through. This is a really great one for when I just have to pull back a little bit, when I know that there's something going on in my body and I need to give a little break. So I hope you enjoyed today. Thanks for joining. If you liked this video, please remember to hit like below and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye.